As sure as you can depend on seeing your aunt's famous stuffing on the Thanksgiving Day table, Thursday marks the annual Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And it's a big moment for our nation's most beloved tradition. This year, the parade, airing on NBC at 9 a.m. in all time zones, celebrates its 90th birthday with the debut of 3 new balloons along the 2.5-mile route, including a very special treat, Felix the cat. A replica of the first ever balloon will make an appearance. We sat down with Amy Cool, the parade's executive producer, to talk about the Macy's team that brings the parade to life, as well as the 10,000 performers, stars and marching bands that make this America's most unforgettable parade. This year, Charlie Brown will have a freshened balloon. This balloon first appeared in 2002. A colorful Diary of a Wimpy Kid balloon will join the lineup. The first Diary balloon appeared in black and white, and the title characters from Trolls will appear. That balloon is magnificent, and it's the first time ever that we've had 4 characters in one balloon. They're coming down the parade route on their giant caterpillar that gets them from place to place. Each one of these trolls hanging off the cater bus are 12 feet tall. There will be up to 70 handlers under that balloon. Felix was the first ever character to appear. In 1927, we didn't use helium, so Felix was inflated with air and was walked down the parade route on sticks. This year, we've recreated Felix the way he was in 1927. It's amazing how Felix paved the way for the characters you see flying now. What's parade day like for you? It's one of the most amazing days, not just for me, but for everybody on my team who spends all year planning it. It's amazing not only because we are seeing the end result of a year's worth of work, but it's amazing that this parade has the ability to bring everyone together. All of us feel the utmost joy when we walk down the route and see all those smiling faces and everyone being kind to each other. How different is it to see the parade on TV versus live? Both experiences are extraordinary, but it's hard for people watching the parade on TV to understand how giant these balloons are. Also, watching it live, you get to see everything. On TV, you see an edited version, and you may not see our smaller heritage balloons, the 1,000 clowns on the street, and the quirky performance groups that round out the lineup. Either way, you'll always see the giant balloons and the 26 floats. Can you give a sense of how many people make the parade happen? Our core team includes 30 people in the studio who are charged with designing and building everything you see. Then we have another 30 or so who are responsible for partnership, marketing, advertising, and the press. On parade day, the balloon handlers are made up of Macy's employees and their families. That day, there will be about 5,000 people who have a hand in this. My family has been involved for 21 years, too. Do you get anxious about the weather on parade day? Truthfully, we are prepared for any kind of weather. We've experienced every type of weather. Whether it's rain, snow, wind, or sunshine, we are ready for all of it. The parade was only canceled once, and that was during World War II. Since then, we've never canceled it again. Is there anything particularly that you do to prepare? I call the month of November. There are things I stay away from in order to stay healthy the entire month. I try my best to stay away from pasta and bread. I want to be in the best shape possible for Thursday. While the annual exodus to leave the city started this morning, thousands of people were packed on Upper West Side streets to catch sight of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade balloon inflation. Onlookers were funneled to the blocks surrounding the American Museum of Natural History, making their way to 77th Street, where Thomas the Tank Engine, Hello Kitty, Red Mighty Morphin Power Ranger, Felix the Cat, Pikachu, Trixie, an adorable new dog balloon, Wiggle Room, Charlie Brown, and more were being filled with helium. Then, at West 81st Street, the Elf on the Shelf, SpongeBob SquarePants, the Sinclair Royal Dinosaur, the Pillsbury Doughboy, Scrat from Ice Age, and another new balloon, one with characters from Trolls, John Piper, Vice President of Macy's Design Studio, was pleased with the weather. It's only getting better, as he surveyed the action. The 150 members of Macy's inflation team have been on the Upper West Side since the morning, working to fill the 16 giant character balloons and 27 novelty ornament balloons, balloonicles and tri-balloons, and they'll be working during tomorrow morning's parade, too. Piper assigns them to work in some capacity with the balloon that they helped fill, as pilot or co-pilot, as drivers for the vehicles under the balloons, etc. That way, if there are any issues, they can address them right there. My daughter wondered why the new Trolls balloon features an oversized version of Mr. Dinkles, an adorable but tiny pet worm in the movie Trolls. Poppy, Branch and Guy Diamond are hanging onto him. Piper explained that was the magic of the parade. We take things that are really little and make them enormous. He also revealed that it was a particularly challenging balloon, since there were 4 characters to incorporate. 1 million people may see the balloons tonight. Millions more will line the parade route tomorrow morning. The 90th annual Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade starts at 9 a.m. and airs on NBC. Please subscribe TTL Entertainment channel to update the latest news about celebrities and the other hot news.
A warrant has been issued to remove the black box from the bus and to review the evidence on the video camera or cameras on the bus. We also know that there are currently 5 fatalities amongst the school children that were on that bus. The updates I have to give you are that we have arrested the bus driver of that school bus. His name is Jonathan Walker. He is 24 years old. We are working diligently to ensure that all of the other children who have received care at the hospitals or may have been transported to other locations are reunited successfully with their families. Jonathan Walker is being charged with 5 counts of vehicular homicide, reckless endangerment, and reckless driving to begin with. There may be more charges added as this proceeds to the grand jury here in Hamilton County.
Jasmine Mateen was standing outside her home here on Tuesday afternoon when her cell phone went off. 2 of her daughters, who were injured when their school bus crashed on Monday, were being discharged from the hospital. The news pulled her briefly from her grief. Moments before, Ms. Mateen had been talking about her 6-year-old daughter Sierra, the girl with the new leopard print coat, who died in the same bus crash that injured 2 of Ms. Mateen's other daughters. "My baby's coming home, but her sister's dead," Ms. Mateen said as a single tear rolled down her left cheek. "Even though she was the one who told me my baby was dead, I just didn't want to believe it," she said of her other 6-year-old, Jasmine. The third daughter on board, Zachariah Brown, is 10. "I couldn't believe it. You know how you try to hold on to hope." This city, just north of Tennessee's border with Georgia, reeled on Tuesday as it coped with the grim toll of the deadly school bus crash. The authorities said that at least 5 Woodmore Elementary School students, 4 girls and a boy, had died, and that 12 others were still hospitalized. 6 of the children were in intensive care. Elsewhere in Chattanooga, the bus driver, Jonathan K. Walker, 24, was jailed and charged with vehicular homicide after the authorities said he had recklessly sped and swerved during his afternoon route. "We're heartbroken for all of our students and their families," said Kirk Kelly, the interim school superintendent in Hamilton County. "Yesterday was the worst day that we have had for Woodmore and for Hamilton County schools that I can recall in my life as an educator and as a parent and as a member of this community." 3 of the students who died were in the 4th grade. The other children who were killed were in kindergarten and 1st grade, Dr. Kelly said, but he did not identify the students.
Please subscribe TTL Entertainment channel to update the latest news about celebrities and the other hot news.
"They will always be with us throughout our lives," he said. "This is something that we will never forget here as a community." The bus was removed from the scene on Tuesday, and crews worked along the blocked street to restore the utility pole that the police said Mr. Walker had struck. A small memorial of stuffed animals and flowers took shape, and investigators reviewed the crash site. The National Transportation Safety Board opened an investigation, and it will be months before federal officials reach any conclusions. But the Chattanooga authorities moved quickly to assign blame, and in an arrest affidavit issued on Tuesday, a police officer wrote that Mr. Walker had been driving at a high rate of speed, well above the posted speed limit of 30 meters /h. Eventually, the police said, Mr. Walker lost control of the bus and swerved off the narrow roadway. The bus, which ultimately landed on its side, struck a mailbox, an elevated driveway, a tree and a telephone pole. The officer, explaining the decision to charge Mr. Walker with vehicular homicide and other crimes, cited the reckless nature of his driving as well as his very high speed and weaving within his lane. Tests for drugs and alcohol are pending. Chief Fred Fletcher of the Chattanooga Police Department said in an interview on Tuesday, federal investigators say they expect to interview Mr. Walker, who received his commercial driver's license in April and was involved in a minor bus crash in September. Mr. Walker's employer, Durham School Services, which holds a contract to bus thousands of Hamilton County students each day, said in a statement that it was devastated by the accident. The statement did not address questions about the company's hiring practices, nor did it respond to reports that parents, including Ms. Mateen, had complained about Mr. Walker. A criminal history report from the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation indicated that Mr. Walker had no arrests before the crash on Monday. But State Department of Safety and Homeland Security records showed that his license was suspended briefly in 2014 for an insurance violation.
Please subscribe TTL Entertainment channel to update the latest news about celebrities and the other hot news.
No one answered the door at Mr. Walker's apartment on Tuesday morning, when a woman who said she was a coworker tried to slip a note under his door. The Safety Record of Durham, which is based near Chicago and says it transports more than 1 million school children in communities around the country each day, was also under scrutiny on Tuesday. A federal regulator, in statistics published late last month, said the company had received 10 driver fitness violations over the course of 2 years, a figure better than only a fraction of other similarly sized transportation companies. The Federal Department of Transportation said Durham's drivers had been involved in 346 accidents in 2 years. But the statistics did not distinguish whether the company's employees were to blame for the wrecks. And although federal officials had flagged Durham for its record on driver fitness, the company had not drawn special attention for a history of unsafe driving. The Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration said the company had satisfactory safety rating. A company spokeswoman did not respond to emailed questions, but the chairman of the National Transportation Safety Board, Christopher A. Hart, said the panel would look into the company during its investigation. Student fatalities aboard school buses are rare in the United States, where an estimated 25 million children use them daily. In a May report that examined crash data between 2005 and 2014, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration said that 53 school-aged children had died in accidents while they were riding in what the government classified as school transportation vehicles. Emotions were raw on Tuesday outside Woodmore, where Demetrius Jenkins stood around daybreak and thought about how he had not yet told his son about the crash. "I don't know how to explain it, Mr. Jenkins said while students ran, walked and skipped toward the school for their final day of classes before Thanksgiving break. The school district said that about 100 of Woodmore's approximately 315 students were in their classrooms on Tuesday. The crash occurred about 16 months after a gunman opened fire at 2 military sites in Chattanooga, killing 5 servicemen. 5 is a cursed number in our city right now. And so we are again dealing with unimaginable loss. Mayor Andy Burke said, "The most unnatural thing in the world is for a parent to mourn the loss of a child. There are no words that can bring comfort to a mother or a father."
Please subscribe TTL Entertainment channel to update the latest news about celebrities and the other hot news.